What if the change in your pocket was worth thousands? Rare Jefferson nickels and U.S. quarters hide valuable errors, silver secrets, and collector's treasures. You might be holding a fortune. The U.S. quarter dollar coin. It's something almost everyone in America has seen or used. But what if I told you that some of these coins are worth way more than just 25 cents? Imagine having a quarter in your pocket that could fetch thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sounds crazy, right? Well, it's true. Over the years, certain U.S. quarters have become some of the most valuable and sought-after coins in the world. Whether it's due to rare mint errors, low mintage numbers, or special designs, these coins have collectors going wild. Let's take a step back and look at the quarter's journey. It all started in 1796 when the first U.S. quarter was minted. Back then, people didn't carry paper money as much, so coins were the backbone of trade. The earliest quarters featured Lady Liberty on the front and an eagle on the back. These coins were made of silver, which meant their actual metal value was quite high. Fast forward to today, and most quarters are made from a copper-nickel blend, unless you stumble upon one of the rare silver ones still floating around. One of the most famous and longest-running designs is the Washington quarter. First introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, this design became so popular that it stuck around for decades. If you have a Washington quarter from the early years, especially from 1932, 1934, or 1936, it might be worth checking its mint mark. Coins from the Denver D and San Francisco S. Mints in those years are much rarer and can be worth serious money. A well-preserved 1932 D or 1932 S quarter can easily sell for thousands of dollars. Now, let's talk about some of the most valuable and exciting quarters in existence. Have you heard of the 1970 S-proof quarter? This is not just any regular quarter. It's a proof coin, which means it was specially made with a high-quality finish. But what makes this coin truly special is that some of them were mistakenly struck over a 1941 Canadian quarter. Yes, you heard that right. A mix-up at the mint led to a quarter being printed on another coin. If you find one of these, you're looking at a coin that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Then, there's the 1932 D and 1932 S quarters. These were the first Washington quarters ever minted, and they had a very low production number. The Denver Mint produced only about 436,000 of them, and San Francisco made around 408,000. That might seem like a lot, but when you consider how many millions of quarters are usually made, these numbers are tiny. If you have one of these in top condition, it could sell for $10,000 or more. Another incredible find is the 1943 Washington quarter struck on a silver planchet. During World War II, the U.S. Mint experimented with different metals for coins due to the shortage of materials. While quarters were normally made of silver, some were accidentally struck on experimental planchets. If you happen to find one of these rare pieces, its value could easily exceed $20,000. Now, let's fast forward to a more modern rarity, the 2004 Wisconsin Extra Leaf Quarter. This quarter belongs to the 50 State Quarter Series, which was a hugely popular program that ran from 1999 to 2008. The Wisconsin quarter features a cow, a wheel of cheese, and an ear of corn. But some of these quarters have an extra leaf on the corn, either a high leaf or a low leaf. This error makes them extremely valuable, with some selling for over $1,000 depending on the condition. Speaking of state quarters, have you ever checked your 1999 Georgia quarter? Some of these have an error where the lettering is doubled, making them worth much more than their face value. The 1999 Delaware quarter also has a rare spitting horse error, where it looks like Caesar Rodney's horse is spitting. These small errors make coins incredibly desirable to collectors, and they can turn an ordinary pocket change fine into a valuable asset. Let's not forget about the 1995 Washington quarter double die obverse. A double die error occurs when the coin's design is accidentally stamped twice, slightly misaligned. This creates a ghost-like effect on the lettering and images. The 1995 Washington quarter with this error can be worth several $100s, and the rarer the error, the higher the value. Now, here's a story that might make you want to dig through your change right now. The 1983 P. Washington quarter. Most people wouldn't think much of a quarter from the 1980s, but this one is special because of its condition. You see, in 1983, the U.S. Mint did not release official uncirculated sets, which means collectors had a hard time finding pristine examples of this coin. As a result, high-grade 1983 P quarters can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, simply because they are so hard to find in mint condition. And if you ever come across a 1965 Washington quarter that looks different, take a closer look. In 1965, the U.S. Mint switched from 90% silver to a copper-nickel composition. However, a few 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets left over from the previous year. These rare silver 1965 quarters can be worth $7,000 or more. Of course, errors aren't the only thing that makes a coin valuable. Sometimes, it's just about rarity and demand. Take the 1823 two-capped bus quarter, for example. This is an old coin, but it's incredibly rare because so few are made and even fewer survive in good condition. A single well-preserved example of this coin can sell for over $100,000. Then there's the 1870 CC Liberty seated quarter. The CC stand for Carson City, a mint that operated in Nevada during the Wild West days. Coins from the Carson City Mint are always desirable because they were made in such small numbers. An 1870 CC quarter in top condition can fetch well over $100,000. Now, let's talk about something a bit more modern. The 2010 Hot Springs National Park quarter, part of the America the Beautiful series. This quarter has a rare error where the design is missing important details. Some of these error coins have sold for thousands of dollars simply because they are so unique. But how do you know if you have a valuable quarter sitting in your pocket or collection? The first step is to check the date and mint mark. The mint mark is a small letter located on the front of the coin near Washington's ponytail. It tells you where the coin was made. P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Some years had very low mintage numbers, making certain quarters rare. The Jefferson nickel. It's one of the most common coins in America. But what if I told you that some of these nickels are worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars? That's right. While most nickels are just worth 5 cents, there are some rare and valuable ones hiding in collections, pocket change, and even old piggy banks. From early mintages to rare errors, the Jefferson nickel has a fascinating history that makes it one of the most exciting coins to collect. The story of the Jefferson nickel begins in 1938. Before this, the U.S. Mint produced a Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation since 1913. While the Buffalo nickel was an iconic design, it had its problems. The raised details wore down quickly, making the coins difficult to read after years of use. The U.S. Mint decided it was time for a new design, and a competition was held to find the perfect replacement. Felix Schlag, a German-American sculptor, won the contest with his design featuring a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and Monticello, Jefferson's famous home, on the back. The first Jefferson nickels were minted in 1938, and they were made of 75% copper and 25% nickel. But during World War II, the U.S. faced a shortage of nickel, which was needed for military production. This led to one of the most famous and collectible varieties of the Jefferson nickel, the war nickels. From 1942 to 1945, the U.S. Mint changed the composition of the nickel, replacing nickel with silver. These silver war nickels contain 35% silver, making them highly sought after by collectors and silver investors alike. You can easily identify a war nickel by looking for a large mint mark above Monticello on the back. If you see a big P, D, or S above the dome, you've got a silver war nickel. Some of the most valuable Jefferson nickels come from these wartime years. For example, the 1943 P3/2 error nickel is an incredibly rare variety where the number 3 was mistakenly stamped over a 2. If you find one of these in high grade, it can be worth thousands of dollars. Similarly, the 1942 D/horizontal D error nickel is another rare find that collectors will pay big money for. But it's not just war nickels that are valuable. The 1939 D. Jefferson nickel is one of the rarest regular issue nickels in the series. The Denver Mint produced only about 3.5 million of these, a much lower number compared to other years. Because of this, a well-preserved 1939 D nickel can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on its condition. And then there's a 1950 D Jefferson nickel, one of the most famous key date nickels in existence. In 1950, the Denver Mint produced only 2.6 million nickels, the lowest mintage of the entire series. At the time, collectors knew it was going to be rare. So many people saved them in uncirculated condition. Today, a 1950 D nickel in top condition can sell for over $10,000. Even a circulated one can be worth much more than 5 cents. Another rare and exciting find is the Full Steps Jefferson nickel. On the back of the nickel, Monticello has a set of steps leading up to its entrance. But because of how the coins were struck, these steps are often weak or worn down. A full steps nickel means the steps are completely visible and well-defined. Finding a Jefferson nickel with full steps, especially from rare years like 1964, can significantly increase its value. Some full steps nickels have sold for over $20,000. Now, let's talk about some of the most valuable error nickels. One of the most famous is the 1971 Noes proof nickel. Proof coins are specially made for collectors, and they usually have a mint mark. But in 1971, some proof nickels were accidentally struck without the S mint mark from the San Francisco Mint. These Noes proof nickels are extremely rare, with only a few known examples. If you happen to find one, it could be worth over $10,000. Another incredible error coin is the 1989 P Black Beauty nickel. This variety appears darker than regular nickels because of an issue during the minting process. While not as valuable as some other errors, these Black Beauty nickels are still highly collectible, often selling for hundreds of dollars. One of the most dramatic and valuable errors in the Jefferson nickel series is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing. Depending on how off-center strike is, these error nickels can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let's not forget about double-die nickels. The 1972 double-die Jefferson nickel is one of the most famous examples. A double die occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice, slightly misaligned. This creates a doubling effect on the lettering or design. If you spot a 1972 double-die nickel in great condition, it could be worth over $1,000. Now, while most people focus on older nickels, even modern Jefferson nickels can be valuable. In 2004 and 2005, the U.S. Mint temporarily changed the design of the nickel to honor the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. These nickels featured different images, including the famous Westward Journey designs. The 2004 D Piece Metal Nickel and the 2005 D Bison Nickel both have rare varieties with double die errors, making them worth much more than face value. And speaking of modern nickels, the 2020 P. Jefferson nickel is already becoming a collector's item. Due to the pandemic, the U.S. Mint had lower production numbers that year, and finding a high-quality 2020 P nickel can be surprisingly difficult. Some collectors believe these will be valuable in the future, so if you come across one in perfect condition, it might be worth holding on to. So, how do you know if you have a valuable Jefferson nickel? First, check the date and mint mark. The mint mark is found on the back of nickels made from 1938 to 1964, and on the front of nickels made from 1968 onward. Coins with low mintage numbers or special errors are often worth the most. Second, check for full steps. If you have an older nickel with clear, complete steps on Monticello, it could be worth a premium. Third, look for errors like double dies, missing mint marks, or off-center strikes. Even a small mistake can mean big money in the world of coin collecting. And finally, consider the condition. Coins in better shape are always worth more. A Jefferson nickel in mint state or proof condition can sell for thousands, while the same coin in poor condition might only be worth a few dollars.